Here we go. Here we go. That's great. Live again on Facebook and YouTube. Today, I'd like to discuss the importance of listening as one of the most, if not the most powerful tool to creating a memorable and, most importantly, meaningful customer experience. Now, we know, as a matter of fact, that customer experience is the way to go for any business and any professional willing to stand out to find their place in the marketplace. Joseph Pine, who also a guest of Lux and Tech, my podcast. Joseph Pine said it very clearly in 1998 with his book, The Experience Economy, when he said that consumers, people, us, were willing to invest more money, to attribute more value to experiences than they would attribute to products and services. And it took time for the business community to embrace this concept. But in the end, I think we can all agree that unless we provide our customers and our audience in general, they don't need to buy from you to be considered customers from a wider perspective, because people who are enjoying what you do may buy from you sooner or later. But I think the world today has embraced the fact that unless we provide our customers with a wonderful, memorable, and meaningful customer experience, we are going to lose relevance over time. Why am I insisting so much on the word meaningful? Because you see, you can always create something memorable, right? You can do something strange, something unique, something bold, something that has an impact at the emotional level, and people will remember it for some time. But as much as they will remember it, they will also forget it after some time, because the world is getting increasingly populated and crowded with information and messages and so forth, that to be kind of memorable for a day or two is no longer sufficient. What adds weight to the experience is the meaning that each and every individual client attaches to it. So when you are able to do something, to entertain a relationship with another human being that is meaningful to them, that makes them project their values, their beliefs, their hopes, their desires, and their dreams, that's where you are giving life to a meaningful customer experience. And meaning, like value, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. Our job as experience designers, so to speak, and this is certainly true for the luxury industry, the industry I come from, but it's also true for many other industries today. Our job is to frame experiences that our customers can really attach their meaning to. And I found out with experience, but also with a lot of research work, both in terms of talking to clients, interviewing clients, and also interviewing world's experts for my podcast, The Lux and Tech. I found out that one of the most powerful tools, both at the strategic and the tactic level, is listening. Now, listening is one of those things we, as human beings, are not really designed to do. Although the old say is we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means that we have to listen more than we speak. In fact, this is not how the brain is designed. The brain is designed to focus on oneself. Hence, in expressing ourselves, rather than listen to what other people have to say. And today, especially, it's not hard to find evidence of this truth, and social media is a perfect example if you think about it. Everyone, with no exception, or pretty much everyone, wants to be heard. Everyone wants there are 15 minutes of celebrity, to say it with Andy Warhol. Everybody wants the attention, the external world's attention. So to be able to wanting attention and to listen at the same time is not necessarily easy. So businesses today have to find a way to give their clients, their customers, their audience, the opportunity to be heard, to be listened to express themselves. Those who know how can do it at the strategic and tactical level succeed today. So the difference between strategy and tactic. Strategy is how you design the process. What are the tools, the moments, the occasions that you can put in place as a business to give your customers, your audience, the opportunity to speak up, to share their mind, to share their ideas, to share their taste, to share their needs. What are the steps along the journey you have designed in advance and tested and proved that that really give your customers the opportunity to be heard, to express themselves. At a personal level, at a tactical level, what people can do, what team members and individuals, professionals can do, it's a different ballgame. Because this is something you don't just design and execute. It takes first and foremost an understanding of what listening really means in terms of giving something else attention, in terms of creating an experience for something else. So let's clarify. Listening for the sake of getting and retaining information is important, is vital, yet is not enough. Because you may be listening with the intention to retain information, to learn something, and at the same time not give the other person, the person in front of you, the client in our case, the impression that they are being listened to. You may be doing something else in the meanwhile. You may be distracted here and there by your phone or whatever is around you, and not give them that impression that you're literally with them in the moment, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And that's if you fail to do so, this dilutes the experience. Whereas if you can focus on the other person, on the speaker, on the client, on your family member, because this works wonderfully in business and in life. So if you can give people the impression that you're listening to them, that you're giving them your full attention, that's where you create this meaningful experience. If you think about it, that's absolutely crazy. But I'm sure many people out there have experienced that. People talk to you, they find it easy to talk to you, and they are perfect strangers. And for whatever reason, the two of you connect, and you give them your attention, and they open up and tell you things about their life and their intimacy that you don't really want to know. And in the end, because they are so invested emotionally with you, because they have opened up so much with you, they end up trusting you, although they know pretty much nothing about you. So that's crazy if you think about it. But that's how the brain is designed. As Antonio Di Masio, one of the greatest neuroscientists in the world, always says, we are not thinking machines that feel, we are feeling machines that think. Let me write it down just because I find this so beautiful. We are not thinking machines that feel, we are feeling machines that think. This is so very important because when we digest this message, we realize that in order to communicate to people, in order to gain their trust, in order to be able to get our message, come across, get to the destination, we need first and foremost to talk to their subconscious mind, to their primal brain, to say it with science, to the reptilian brain, to say it with Patrick Renvois, one of the amazing guests of my show, who's an expert in neuromarketing. You need to talk to their emotions. And listening does just that. When you, again, give people your full attention, and there are, by the way, 5 steps that I'm going to share with you in a minute that can help you create that momentum. And when you really make them feel heard, that's where you're touching on this desire, on this need to be listened to feel something about an experience. Because we are not thinking machines that feel, we are feeling machines that think. Human beings are triggered by emotions much more than thoughts and ideas. So, what can you do? First and foremost, you must give people your, you must acknowledge people as soon as possible. You know, acknowledgement is such an important thing. We are losing it now with Zoom and virtual communication. However, I was reading the Financial Times this morning that said, you know, so many people now are moving from lockdown cities to cities where the lockdown is over. Like, many people are coming to Dubai from all over the world because they can't stand it anymore. Whoever can afford it will move their office, will move their family to cities where they can enjoy their time with other people again. So human beings crave human experiences, crave getting together again. So eye contacts or acknowledgement is so very important. People talk to you, you look at them in the eye as much as possible, as often as possible, without distractions. So you make them understand that you are with them. The second thing you can do is to nod your head on a regular basis. I remember Olivia Fox-Caban, another guest of Lux and Tech, who wrote a beautiful book titled The Charisma Myth, in which she basically says that charisma, as we know it, that aura that emanates when somebody with a strong, beautiful personality enters a room. Charisma is not a God-given gift. It's something we all can nurture and grow with time. And Olivia said in the book, the more often you nod your head, the more empathy you're building with the person in front of you, the more you make them feel that you are making an effort to understand them. You're making an effort to understand them. You're not necessarily agreeing with them when you do this, when you nod your head, but you're showing them that, you know, you're trying harder. You put yourself in their shoes. You're doing everything you can in order to understand their point of view. And again, this is beautiful because also from a philosophical point of view, it's great to disagree, but only when you fully understand what the other person is saying. The third step is to speak less. As banal as it may sound, you cannot speak and listen at the same time. If you really want to give people the impression that they're being listened to, if you really want to give them the freedom to open up, you also have to give them time. So let them speak more than you do, especially if you are in a business environment where you want to make sure that you're giving them a meaningful experience. When they speak, when they open up, that's where they're placing their meaning here and there around the experience. It's like they're bringing their own furniture in the room, if you think about it. And so let them speak more and use those little words that actually encourage people to speak more. Words like "really," "wow, that's amazing," "tell me more about it." Those are ways to invite the speaker, to invite the client, but also to invite your children, your husbands, your wife, your partner, your parents, your friends to speak more, to open up. Rather than jump into the conversation and speak, just send them those small invites to speak more. So when you say "really" and then you shut up, something magical happens. There's this silence going on that the brain is not designed to handle, so the other person will feel the urge to speak again. And that's where magic happens. That's where they will start speaking more, adding more details to the conversation, expressing themselves, and open up. and the connection, the rapport is being built. You can also decide to take notes here and there. This is also powerful because when somebody's speaking and you take a note of what they're saying, you write it down, you put it on paper. Not only you're showing them the highest level of attention, not only you're giving them importance, not only the hidden message you're sending them is, I'm interested in what you're saying, to the point that I want to retain this information, but you're also retaining the information, which means that you can leverage whatever you have written. And now we call this CRM, as if customer relationship management were a software, rather than a culture, first and foremost, a culture. So when you take notes, you're actually retaining the information, and you're retaining it in the order of importance being expressed by the customer in our case, or the person who's talking to you. So this is also gold for a next interaction. And the last step would be to repeat here and there a few keywords spoken by this other person you're talking to, and that's subtle and interesting at the same time, because you see, when you use other people's words, you're basically stepping into their world. You're basically entering their world's map. Because think about this: every time we use a word to define something, we are not only saying what we say, but we are also saying the way we see something. So if I talk about the, powerful microphone, and you refer to it as the powerful microphone, we are sharing the same view. You refer exactly to the way I see it. Whereas if you call it the black microphone, or if you call it the Audio-Technica microphone, you're still talking about the same item, the same object, but you're not referring to it exactly in the way I, as your customer or the person you want to talk to, you want to communicate with, see it. And so when you leverage those 5 steps and you do it consistently, you build a trait, you create a perception of yourself as the person to go to be listened to, as the person who makes others feel understood. And that creates a wonderful competitive advantage. And you see, not listening is one of the biggest mistakes we can make in life. But not just not listening in the sense of not hearing what people are saying, not listening to them, not giving them the impression that we are paying full attention to what they say, is one of the biggest mistakes we can ever make. Couples split because they don't feel heard by their partner. I have a friend, a lawyer, and she specializes in divorce. And she once said, and she keeps repeating it every time we meet, that she'll never run out of business because, couples keep splitting and keep divorcing. And the reason is not related to cheating, as I initially thought. I said, look, if so many people stop being together, it's probably because they cheat on each other. And she said, no, I mean, it happens obviously, but this is not the main reason. And it's not even money, because we know that financial struggle may lead to difficult relationships. But this, again, is not the case. The biggest reason why couples split, break up, is because they don't feel heard, listened to by their partner. And so when you create these consistent habits to make people feel heard and understood, you build stronger than ever relationships. And not doing so is the biggest mistake. Another mistake that I reflected on during my conversation with a beautiful guest of the show. His name is Paul Cowan. He is the author of a book titled Connecting with Clients. And not only he is an entrepreneur and a top manager in the advertisement industry, he is also a psychotherapist. And he told me, there's a mistake, which is called already listening. Already listening is when you look at somebody and tell them, You said that already. I know about it. Yeah, we spoke about it. And this happens so often amongst family members, husbands and wives. So, yeah, you said that already. Yeah, you keep saying it every time. Or even with children, they keep saying the same thing and you keep telling them, yes, you said it yesterday, you said it the day before. But when you do that, when you're telling another human being that they said it already, that you heard that before, not only you are missing the opportunity to connect, but you're also missing the emotional meaning that they're attributing, that they're attaching to the sentence, to what they're saying at the moment. So you may have listened to, you may have heard the subject before, but what you haven't heard yet is the emotional meaning that is being attached in the momentum. So the worst thing to do is to tell your husband, is to tell your wife, is to tell your customer, is to tell your boss, is to tell your colleague, yeah, you said that before. Yes, I heard that before. Yes, you told me before. Just listen to it again with fresh ears and keep giving them the impression, which must not only be an impression. I mean, listen to people, but don't forget to make them feel listened to, because listening alone is not enough. And to conclude this live streaming, and of course, feel free to comment, feel free to add value to the conversation, because those are conversations. I aim to creating a moment during these live streamings in which we, people from all over the world, can communicate and find and share value. The last thing, important thing that I want to add about listening is that unless it's consistent, it's kind of worthless. See, attention is something that people never get used to and never get it off of. So if you give people attention today and fail to do it tomorrow, not only will you disappoint them, but you would also lose their trust. So if you want to create a meaningful customer experience, on top of a meaningful life or a meaningful life experience to the people around you, focus on creating listening opportunities. Make sure that the experience includes an opportunity for the participants to open up, to express themselves, to share their ideas, to share their emotions, and to attribute meaning to the experience. See you on Wednesday at 12 noon Dubai time or 10 a.m. Central European Summer Time. Grazie mille for watching.